This is Time Signatures with Jim Irvin, a podcast and radio program presented by the Capital Area Blues Society in Lansing, Michigan.
Driving up and down these Michigan roads, yeah.
And now, here he is, your host, Jim Irvin.
Baby, I'm home.
Well, thank you, Parker, and welcome to Time Signatures. I'm your host, Jim Irvin, and we couldn't be more pleased to welcome our special guest today. Now, just let me get this out of the way right here at the top of the show. Our guest is going to be appearing on Wednesday, March 13th. You heard me right, the 13th of March, at the house that Minard built, the Gem Theater in St. Louis, Michigan. We're going to be talking more about that a little bit more in detail as we get through the interview here, but let's take care of the introduction. Today's guest spent 6 years as lead singer and frontman for the Rock and Roll Hall of Famer Levon Helm's band, the Barn Burners. He has shared the stage with the likes of harmonica giant James Cotton, Dan Aykroyd, the Fabulous Thunderbirds, Albert Lee, and many others. In 2011, our guest went solo, and his debut CD, Mr. Used to Be, won the 2011 New Blues Artist Debut CD Blues Blast Award. Boy, that's a mouthful. And he was on his way. His latest album is Alligator Records' debut. The Hard Line features 12 heavy-duty blues cuts, and I'm so excited to introduce this guy. Chris O'Leary, thank you so much for your time, and welcome to Time Signatures, sir.
It's good to be here. Thank you so much.
And it looks like you're on the road, huh?
We are. We're somewhere in Wisconsin right now.
Okay, well, there you go. So drive safe while we're doing this, that's for sure.
We're
Listen,
parked at a quick trip. Parked at a quick trip under a mezzanine type deal.
All right, cool. Well, we've got a lot of ground to cover, so I just want to dive in here. Chris, I want to go right to the dessert, if you will, because I absolutely am enjoying this CD. Talk about the Hard Line for a minute.
When the pandemic hit, for us touring musicians, life sort of stopped. So I didn't have much to do other than write music. So I wrote a ton. And right before the pandemic hit, we played Chicago, and I noticed some guy in the audience that looked familiar. Sure enough, on the break, it was Bruce Iglauer from Alligator Records.
Nice.
I don't know if your listeners know, but Alligator is it's the pantheon of blues labels. It's been the number one blues label in the world for 50 years. All my heroes played on Alligator. So we struck up a conversation, and that turned into me sending him a bunch of new music. And sure enough, over a course of time, we agreed on 11 or 12 songs, and that was basically the basis of the Hard Line.
Very good. You've called this CD your best work that you've ever done. It's the most focused, the most on-point album that you've ever made. To what do you credit that sentiment? Is it just because you had so much time to really delve into things?
Actually, a good portion of it is my association with Bruce from Alligator.
Okay.
He's been around a long time. And he, through he's brutally honest, and through constructive criticism and pointers, some advice here and there, he's made me basically stuff like a song doesn't need, 5 verses, 2 choruses, and 3 solos to be effective. There's something to be said for brevity and something to be said for getting to the point. A song doesn't need to be 7-minute song to be hard hitting. And so I trimmed things up and I made them more pointed. And I think it resulted in a much more powerful record.
I was listening to you. When I do prep for an interview, I always try to immerse myself in the music of the guest that I'm going to be talking to. And I put your newest CD on and started listening to it, and just wanted to get a feel for what this album felt like. And honestly, I'm having a tough time choosing a favorite track, man. How about you? Are there any that hit you harder than others on this album?
Uh, the centerpiece of the record, as far as me, is is I Cry at Night.
Yes, sir.
Mainly because of its. I'm a Marine and I'm a combat veteran. Um,
And thank you for your service, by the way. Thank you.
sure. Mainly because of the message, um, and uh, where some of the other topics are sort of lighthearted, and I write with a sense of humor. That one has none of that. It's pretty serious, and it's the way I look at it. I have a platform, and there are issues that don't get the coverage that I think they deserve. In fact, veteran suicide gets no coverage.
Yes, sir.
So I try to, in my own small little blues world niche, shed light on something that I think deserves light shed on it. You know, so that's definitely the most important song on the record for me.
Okay. Living Blues got it just about spot on. They said gritty blues and soulful ballads performed with absolute authority. Chris O'Leary is a potent, raging tour de force. And I would say yes to all of the above, man. Praise of this level must make you smile, yeah?
Yeah, I'd never heard that one. That was pretty good. I've been called a lot of stuff.
Well, there's
been
a lot
called
of
a
good
lot.
information on the Alligator page. So I tried to do my homework, man.
Nice. Yeah. Living Blues it is the publication. So those are great words to hear.
Yes, sir.
I try to write about what I know. You know, I've lived a bit of a crazy life, so it gives me a large palette to choose from. To paint from.
Yes,
So
sir.
that it helps with my songwriting for sure.
Well, Chris, take me back to the early years, if you would. Talk about your baptism into the blues and what
Sure.
got you started.
My dad. It was a really musical household.
Everything got played in my house from opera to Springsteen, from polkas to Muddy Waters and the band. Everything was on the table. Everything was played, and my dad sang, and my uncles all played instruments. So it was a musical household. So I grew up listening to all sorts of different kinds of music. And probably when I was around 10 or 11, I was up in my room listening to Kiss. I think Love Gun, or I don't know, one of those albums. And my dad came in and told me to shut it off, and not so many words. And he threw a record on my bed, which was turned out to be the most important record in my life. In fact, we just listened to it in the van on the way out to Wisconsin. A record called Muddy Waters, Hard Again. It was Muddy's comeback record on Blue Sky label that Johnny Winters produced for him in
Wow.
the late 70s, I believe. And I heard James Cotton. And I'd never heard anybody play an instrument with such ferocity, such is brutal. His playing on that it goes straight to your heart. I mean, it's killer blues playing at its finest. And for some reason, it just struck a chord with me. And my dad got me a Marine band. I was already playing guitar at the time, and he got me a Marine band harmonica. And for years, I just played along with that record. I basically learned how to play the basics of harmonica, copying James Cotton.
Wow.
And then after high school, I joined the Marine Corps, and why, I don't know. But ended up spending 7 years in the infantry, and going to war. And then when I got out, I went to school. I went to a college in upstate New York, across the river from Woodstock. So I started playing in a regional band, going to school at the same time. And we made a demo, and Levon Helm the legendary singer and drummer with the band.
Sure.
I got, somehow, by the grace of God, I got him to come out and play on the demo. And he had a great time. We were playing straight Chicago blues then. There was nothing else. It was Muddy Wolf, Walter, Junior Wells, Sonny Boy. That's what we did. And he started showing up at gigs every now and then and sitting in with us. And then we got a call from his manager, Butch. He said, boys, you got to come down to the barn tomorrow around 1:00. Things are about to get crazy. So we did. And Levon was like, I want you to come down and be the house band at my club on Decatur Street in New Orleans. I need you guys to move down there. So I told my soon-to-be wife / ex-wife that I was moving.
Okay.
We had just bought a house in Highland, and news didn't go over very well. But when a Rock and Roll Hall of Famer, when your hero asks you to move to New Orleans to play with them every night, what are you going to say?
Yeah.
So,
what did go through your head when you got that offer?
I didn't even know. I was just like, I was in shock, but I couldn't believe it was happening to us. And so I dropped out of school and moved to New Orleans. Boy, were my parents happy. Actually, to tell you the truth, the first concert I ever saw, my dad and my Uncle Mike brought me to see the band at Palace Theater in Albany, New York. When I was, I don't know, I was young, and it was the reunited band without Robbie, and it was the Kate brothers had taken his place, but Richard Manuel was still alive, and that was, so once I hooked up with Levon and things got serious, it sort of validated some of my career choices, but yeah, and then I moved down to New Orleans, and that was an eye opener. I mean, it blew my mind as far as the various instruments and styles while still remaining in the tradition of the blues. It was to this day, it's my favorite place in the world.
Man, I just was taking a peek at your schedule here while you were talking, and you're not messing around on this tour. This is you're literally going to be all over the country with dates going through spring and summer. I mean, you're a man on a mission, aren't you?
I want to sell this record. I want my name to get out there. I promised Bruce, I promised Alligator when they signed me that I was going to do my damnedest to get this thing out in people's ears. Because up until now, I mean, I have 5 records out, but they were smaller labels, so it wasn't really national exposure. And the days with Levon are way in the rearview mirror. I had to leave that band with Levon because my voice quit. So any kind of momentum that I had built up over the time with Levon was lost because I had to take almost a decade off.
Wow.
Life took over. I became a cop, and things progressed in a completely different direction. So, I'm not starting from square one, but I'm not in the same place as a lot of their established artists. So I got ground to make up, and I'm going to do it.
Well, from your lips to God's ears, absolutely. You are listening and watching Time Signatures. I'm your host, Jim Irvin, and my very special guest today is bluesman Chris O'Leary. Plays a mean harmonica, got some great vocals, and we are really, really excited to see him up at, as I call it, the house that Minard built at the Gem Theater, coming up next Wednesday, which is just a matter of a few days. And I promised Matt that I would get this out there in time to help promote the show. Talk about your trip up to Michigan. Are you something you're looking forward to, I'd imagine?
Absolutely. I've known Minard and Jen for, I don't know, probably about a decade now. And they're fantastic people. They're great people. I love that place. And when I first thought about this tour, I was like, where can I go where I know people are gonna dig the new stuff. They're gonna buy my records, and I know I'm going to get good crowds. And that's the first place that popped up into my head. Every time we play the Gem, we have a great time. And I've probably played there a half dozen times, maybe more. I've played Minards Festival a few times.
Mhm.
It's a great place. The sound is killer.
Yes, it is.
And he takes care of us. And they're just good people. They really are. They're really good people.
Yeah, if you wanted to look for a definition of salt of the earth, Maynard Shattuck and his wife certainly fit that bill.
Yeah.
Two of the greatest people that I've ever met. And of course, Larry McRae plays up there quite a bit, and I've seen a couple of other acts up there. But we're really looking forward to it. I've actually got some people that are going to come up with me from the Lansing area. They're excited about
Nice.
seeing Chris O'Leary in concert. So
Larry's from right around there, isn't he?
He's actually from the Bay City area. Yeah. Bay City area.
Yeah. Larry's one of those guys where I met him at a festival one year, and the next year I come out and I see him again, and he's like, "Hey, Chris, how you doing?" You know, he's that kind of guy.
Yes, he is.
I'm so glad for him to be finally getting the exposure and the credit that he deserves. And for my money, he's one of the best blues acts out there, especially live. Sir. He kills it. He really does. I'm so happy for him.
And he hasn't lost a lick. I mean, he's a couple of years older than me. He hasn't lost a lick at all. He just, he played up at the Gem last fall, and I know he's out with the Allman Betts group right now doing that tour. And then he's got his own stuff that he's doing. So I know he's keeping very busy with it. And
that last record produced by Joe Bonamassa and Josh Smith is killer, you know.
Yes,
and I know it was getting a lot of airplay. So I hope it kicks Larry up to where up to that national level where he belongs on top of the game as far as
he really does.
Yep, I agree.
Yep, he really does. Chris, you referred to the songs that you write and the music you create as a platform to raise awareness for the struggles veterans face. Talk about that for a minute.
Sure. I lucked out. My experience, when I got home, my father was not only a veteran. My dad was a Green Beret in the 60s. Not only was he a veteran, but when he got out of the Army, he went back to school and got his doctorate in psychology. So I had a father who was a veteran and a father who was, trained in
seeing the warning signs of somebody that might be slipping. And I was slipping, I was slipping. I was self-medicating. I was isolating myself, as a lot of veterans do, trying to, after experiencing things and trying to get back into their normal life and having a really hard time. So I father 99.9% of veterans who go through the same stuff or much worse. They come home and they don't got anybody, and the worst thing in that situation is to be isolated. And so because I was blessed and because it's something that matters to me, this isn't the first song that I've written that touches on that, but it's the first song that I've written that touches on that has such a big platform because it's Alligator. So, I'll keep ringing that bell. My father said, listen, if something bothers you and you don't say anything, then you're complicit, then, especially if you have a platform.
Right.
That's how I was raised. That's so I'll keep writing songs that address to that because that's what matters to me. It's everybody has their own set of experiences. That's mine.
Yes, sir. Chris, you've quite literally played all over the world as a blues musician. You got any favorite spots that you can tell us about?
Sure.
From your travels?
Here in the States, like I said, New Orleans is my favorite place. It's probably my favorite place in the world. Unfortunately, for a out of town band, it's not easy to get a gig there anymore. And I understand why. There's so many great musicians, and people come to New Orleans to hear New Orleans music. They don't come to hear anything else, you know. And who does New Orleans music better than people from, you know, the Crescent City? So as a band coming out, you know, it's hard for me to get a gig there, but I'm hoping. I'm going to keep working on it because I love that place. I don't think I could live there nowadays. I don't think my liver could handle it. But I love New Orleans. As far as other places, I love Spain. We play there pretty much once a year, and you know, we sort of have family over there because my tenor sax player, his wife Margaret is from there, northern Spain, up in Basque Country, and that's one of my favorite places as well. Spain's fantastic. It really is. We've been playing Chicago lately, and we played Buddies. The last 2 times we played Buddy Guy's Legends, Buddies came out and played with us. He sat down or he came out and sat in with us, and it was pretty special. I mean, the guy was a hero of mine. So yeah, there are a lot of places here and abroad that I love playing at.
Well, I have to ask you, as we get close to the end here, any unfinished business in your blues endeavors? Anyone that you maybe haven't had an opportunity to collaborate with yet that you would like to? Any bucket list wishes?
There's definitely bucket wish. I want to get to. When I was in the Corps, I got to go to Okinawa, and but when you're in the Marine Corps or in the Armed Services, you only see a certain section of the places that you're at, you know. I want to go there as a civilian, as a musician. I'd love to go to Japan. I would love to go to Australia, and I'd love to go there through music. So I'm gonna work towards that. I mean, it got me to Ireland. It got me to a good portion of Europe. Hopefully, it'll bring me to those places. As far as the people that I'd love to play with, so many of them, I know this sounds awful, but so many of them are gone now. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I say this. We do a Billy Boy Arnold song every night, and you know, those first generation guys. You know, there's not many of them left, and once they're gone, they're gone. You know,
Yeah.
there's no replicating a Billy Boy Arnold or a Buddy Guy. You
No,
know?
there's not.
So I try to go out and see them, you know, as much as I can, because it's a walking, talking piece of American musical history that you're witnessing when they're up
Yes,
on
sir.
stage. You know, I'm thankful that I saw BB, you know, and that I played with Hubert Sumlin and Cotton. I never got to see Muddy Waters, you know, that's or Howlin' Wolf. That's a, you know, that's or Elvis. You know, they're artists that I'll never get to see, but the ones that are still around, I try to make it a point to go and see them. You know.
Yeah, I actually had an opportunity to go and see Buddy. You can't see his poster on the wall. It's over here on the left, to the left of Joe Bonamassa. We went to see him in November. We got to see Buddy last summer at the Meyer Amphitheater. And it truly was a bucket list opportunity for me. It's something I'll never forget.
Yep.
And I'm still waiting. I'm still trying to get him to come on and do an interview with me. I would love to have him here because, as you said, I mean, you know, when they're gone, all those stories go with them.
Yeah.
You know, so my goal is to get as many as I can. Go ahead, sir.
My time with Levon, the regret that I have is that when you're young, you never think things are going to end, you know? So I'm not saying that I took it for granted, but I didn't really stop and slow down and smell the roses while it was going on, you know? And I wish I had, because I wish I'd realized how lucky and how blessed I was then, because I was, you know, playing with that guy was the honor of my life. Truly, it was. He was that kind of man, that kind of musician. So I try to, like playing with Buddy the other night, I try to slow down and enjoy every second, you know?
Yes, absolutely, sir. Well, listen, if you're looking for tickets, and we're going to get this aired this weekend, if you're looking for tickets to the Gem Theater, the web address is the Gem Theater LLC.com, the Gem Theater LLC.com, and we'll put it up on the screen here. But we would love to pack this place out for next Wednesday and give Chris O'Leary the full house that he deserves, and also give him a resounding standing ovation, and go up there and celebrate with him with some great music. And we
That
are
would be
definitely looking forward to it. That'd be like, hey, listen, if we get it done, if we get it packed out, man, I'll be smiling really big.
Me
But,
too.
Chris, where can people go to hear your music, to purchase your CDs, learn more about Chris O'Leary, and to book you for a gig?
You can go to the ChrisO'LearyBand.net. That's our website. You can go to Alligator. Alligator's website has our music and has links to us, our site. And if you're you can just go through our website or go through Leo Gale Music for us. He's our agent. So please just contact us wherever. We're on Facebook, Instagram, all those platforms.
Well, Chris, I want to thank you very much for being our guest today on Time Signatures. I am sincerely looking forward to meeting you on Wednesday and shaking your hand in person and thanking you for your service. And of course, we're definitely looking forward to a good time and lots of great music. So thank you so much.
Fun, I guarantee it.
Absolutely, sir. Well, listen, that's going to wrap up this edition of Time Signatures with Jim Irvin. Thank you to everybody that's come in and watched and listened. And most of all, just being a part of keeping the blues alive, because keeping the blues alive, after all, is the goal. But preserving the history of the blues, one story at a time, that's my mission. Until next time, Jim Irvin, we'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.
This has been Time Signatures with Jim Irvin, presented by the Capital Area Blues Society in Lansing, Michigan. For more information on cabs, visit capitalareablues.org. You can find this episode and past episodes at lccconnect.org. The Time Signatures theme song, Michigan Roads, is used by permission and was written by Root Doctor, featuring Freddie Cunningham.
You know I'm trying, baby, driving up and down these Michigan roads, yeah.
Until next time, keep on keeping the blues alive.